forecast is upwards of $9.2 trillion of potential impact through the end of the decade worldwide. Now, in the Americas region, that's about $3.2 trillion worth of total impact overall.
9.2 trillion seems like a staggering number, but the potential for AI to drive economic growth in retail is clear. It promises to usher basically an era of more intelligent data-driven decisions, making processes and customer engagement strategies. This could really redefine the retail landscape, making it more responsive and personalized to customer needs.
Where is the big benefits going to come from? Well, right now in 2023 and 2024, the benefits are coming from that hard work where we've done the blocking and tackling of getting our data right and doing iteration after iteration after iteration to find the improvements. That's where the vast majority of the benefit is going to be for the rest of the decade. Today, 91% of the benefit comes from traditional AI and machine learning. Later in the decade, we expect to see 78% of the benefits coming from generative AI as they build on top of those building blocks of the traditional AI and machine learning. So when you look at things like line of business area, where are the main beneficiaries of AI inside the retail chain? Number one is the supply chain. And it's going to be the merchandising and supply chain systems that will see the biggest benefit from AI going forward. The other one that's obvious is sales and marketing. I believe it's 2028, 2029, where we're showing more benefits from generative AI at that point. The reason we see the generative AI cross over and be the main driver of AI benefits in the Americas is mostly because of the United States. There is a much larger population of retailers that are $1 billion in annual sales or higher versus the rest of the world. And when it comes to AI, scale matters. And that is the biggest driver of why we're going to see this benefits. As well, the U.S. has a head start in this technology compared to the rest of the world. Many of the leading companies are based here and access to that technology, as well as planning. The second thing is banking differences. These banking differences like physicalization in Brazil can help or hurt the adoption of AI there. If you get more consistent data because have these regulations, that can be a benefit. In other cases where you don't have as clear data, that could be a negative. You do a lot more conversational commerce and live streaming in Latin America than we have in the U.S. right now. The U.S. and Canada is actually way behind the rest of the world when it comes to conversational commerce and live streaming. It's far more appreciated in other parts of the world. The next thing is the highly concentrated population in urban environments that you see in Latin and South America. And oftentimes that comes with crime, which means it's not necessarily safe to go to the store and carry all your items back. Number two is demand forecasting. You can run a lot more scenarios with AI than a human being can do today with that. Inventory optimization, having the right amount of inventory in the right locations is another huge area where we have a lot of inefficiencies in the market today. The HR area is another area that probably has the single biggest use of AI. And then finally is security there, the ability to play defense, because one of the things that's happening with generative AI is we're seeing a massive increase in the threat vector and the number of threats coming to each retailer. With generative AI, you can use the AI to play defense and much more effectively identify where there are weaknesses and plug those weaknesses. When we look at the CMO, there are tremendous opportunities. In fact, the largest area of the financial statement is sales. That's 100% of the income statement. And that top level, which is the largest level and the greatest scale of AI, is through the chief marketing officer. The number one area of benefit of AI is in the personalization and customer engagement. And I think that customers want to be recognized for who they are and what their value is to you. And they're open to getting better prices based on their relationship with you. In fact, they fully expect that. And that's what AI has the opportunity to do there. Content creation and optimization of that content across all your channels as well.
The success of retailers largely depends on their ability to understand the shift in consumer preferences and adapt the retail offerings to meet the shifting preferences. The convergence of data compute, and AI have accelerated the ability of marketers to quickly analyze vast amounts of data, understand the changes in consumer behavior, and present retail offerings that create value for consumers and also drive revenue for retailers.
In an AI-driven future, we're seeing that CMOs are really tasked with being data custodians for the first time.
So there are two ways that AI is really going to transform the role of CMO. One is it's going to enable CMOs to be even more aspirational and visionary. And then the second is it's going to really force CMOs to double down even more on analytics and optimization because there's going to be increase in competition.
AI can help drive efficiencies in the sense that it can help the CMO find patterns in various market research presentations that they're being given by their teams. It can also highlight differences and similarities among the insights that they're being served and can help drive better results from the presentations that they're being given by analyzing the data in maybe nuanced and different ways than they've previously been thinking about it at their organization.
So one of the things that we've been talking about, especially at Microsoft, for years and years and years, has been normalizing data, unifying data, sourcing data. But what has fundamentally changed with the advent of generative AI is this ability to find patterns in data.
ROI is a big question. We struggle with in-store attribution and online attribution. We struggle with a very complex conversion cycle with multi-attribution. And AI is one of the few tools that can take the noise and the many, tens of thousands of different signals and then provide the answer as to what truly optimizes your campaigns.
I also think, though, they will have to be much more discerning when it comes to the information that they're being given, and also really make sure that they're going to be disruptive as a brand and innovative, because AI and generative AI are leveling the playing field for a lot of retailers and brands.
So when you look at the CIO versus the CFO role together, both of them are worried about compliance to systems, compliance to regulations. It's about data management. It's also about security and compliance for audit purposes, but also for data security and data cleanliness considerations. In the world of AI, everything runs off the quality of the data. And to the ability to control that and understand where that comes from and protect that is massive when it comes to the role of the CIO and CFO. In that realm, the ability, though, to improve data management and decision-making with better forecasting, analysis, and reporting tools is a huge opportunity for AI, whether it's generative AI or traditional AI and machine learning.
You think about the big unlock, it's the frontline worker. I mean, that's the employee population that in the retail industry matters the most. And I think these digital assistants and co-pilots and AI are going to further enable the employee to have an experience with the consumer that is top notch. If I'm an hourly employee, I may not have the insights into what is going on either before something happens, say inventory shifts, logistics, freight shipments arriving, any of that sort of thing. I will now be able to see exactly what's happening and what I should do next, even if my manager's not around. That is going to be amazing amounts of cost and productivity gains that'll hit the bottom line for all retailers.
AI is driving operational efficiency and cost savings in retail environments by enabling retailers to automate various tasks, optimizing processes, and enhance customer experience. Some specific examples of AI applications in retail are the following. AI-powered chatbots and virtual assistants can provide 24/7 customer service, answering questions, provide recommendations, and handle transactions. AI-based demand forecasting and pricing can analyze data from multiple sources, such as sales history, customer behavior, weather, and events, and adjust prices and promotions accordingly. AI-enabled inventory management and replenishment systems can monitor stock levels, predict demand, and optimize order and delivery. AI-driven fraud detection and prevention can identify and flag suspicious transactions, reduce chargebacks, and enhance security. By using AI, retailers can reduce operational costs, increase revenue, and improve customer satisfaction to finally gain a competitive advantage.
I think we're at the tip of the iceberg with AI. But in retail, for operational efficiency and cost savings, we've already seen AI enabling smarter and faster operations, all the way from empowering the store colleagues, enhancing the customer experience, and powering retail real-time supply chain management, just to name a few.
One of the ways that AI can impact what's happening from an omni-channel perspective is how do you combine that total view of the customer and leverage that at each part of your channel. With that comprehensive view of the customer, you see a significant impact on increased sales. We've seen as high as 25% increase in ticket because that one view of the customer, the ability to use that data at the point of decision increases the likelihood that that consumer is going to make a purchase at that particular time.
AI is not a tool for automating everything which humans do. It is an augmentation tool at the end of the day. When we use this in the decision-making process, examples in the retail industry can include helping retailers integrate and analyze data from multiple sources, such as sales, inventory, customer channels, market trends, all of this to generate actionable insights and recommendations.
IDC did a recent study stating that for every dollar invested, $3.40 will be returned in the ROI, which shows again that the ROI is there. But then the real question becomes, how do I make that reality? And it isn't just a switch of a button. So the approach that we're seeing and we're working with clients is breaking down their AI strategy into pillars, which is segmented leveraging the Three Horizons approach. This then turns the focus onto use cases and understanding time to value and the amount of effort needed to make this a reality. So if we look at the first stage of the Three Horizons approach, we really see this as a crawl phase. So look at optimizing your core business operations or functions. So think product development, onboarding, training. What would I do if there were 3 more of me? Then if you move to the second phase, which would be really focused on how do we improve our market position, this is thinking about improving time to value for clients, reducing shrink wrap, reducing wait times or frictions the clients see as they go into the store. And then the third phase, which we see as the kind of the North Star, is how do I leverage AI to change my market position? So thinking about this, you're thinking about how do I create new revenue streams and products as a result of these use cases that we're thinking about.
When you think about the chief operating officer, you have a wide range of responsibilities. Supply chain is a huge opportunity for retailers to take advantage of AI, whether it's better loading of the trucks, the route optimizations. So not just at the store level, but more efficiency at the warehouse level as well. Next is the customer experience itself, providing tools that are available for associates to use to improve the customer experience by taking into consideration their previous purchases and understanding better where the customer is at and what the configuration options may be for that particular consumer. Next is better data, just having better data in your hands to make the operation go smoother. You have situations today where your data accuracy and the amount of data that you have, you don't necessarily have the tools to sort through all of that hay to find the needle in the haystack that you need. And AI can contribute to that. As well, managing the facilities themselves, whether it's physical security at the local level, whether it's loss prevention, whether it is the security of the customers when they come into the stores. AI can greatly improve that and help be more effective and keep your store safer as a result.
Many customers are going through such a large transformation. They all also recognize that they have so much, data in every different places that are not communicating to each other. So it's a challenge for applying AI because, as we know, AI is very much data hungry. The other second thing that we consider, or at least we look at, is how much we call it tribal knowledge is in the head of people. There is a very big challenge about how do we recapture that information. So how do we go from, let's say, an analog type of information, which is in the brain of people, into a digital form of information that is becoming part of IT infrastructures.
And so it's good to consider how to be strategic in terms of a more seamless integration, ensure compatibility, minimize disruptions to the business, and maintain data integrity. And what's really paramount now is to have the right privacy, security, and compliance measures in place. And it provides the foundational tools for agile, resilient, and sustainable supply chains. This is really how AI bends the curve on innovation with Gen AI, and think about turning data into knowledge and shift for more proactive, predictive supply chain away from a reactive mode of operating and much more customer-centric operation by accelerating your supply chain work.
When it comes to analytics, a recent study we completed showed that 94% of retailers are implementing either predictive or prescriptive analytics for store management. 82% were looking at prescriptive or predictive analytics when it came to supply chain management, improving supply chain operations. Another 64% were looking at them for loss prevention activities and to improve the losses, particularly consumer theft, but also employee theft at the local level. And then finally, another 64% were looking at predictive analytics to improve the situation when it came to pricing.
It's not just about filling shifts. It's about optimizing coverage to ensure that the right people are in the right place at the right time. This level of precision scheduling enhances the overall operation of a retail business and improves customer service.
We're able to bring more information through all that, reduce turnover. We have great cost reductions, but we also have a great opportunity to improve the end customer experience, which is ultimately what we're all after.
Good data produces better outcomes and recommendations. Poor data, I think it's self-evident that would be a risk. But in incorporating your AI strategy, organizational change management is really important. Consider how you're going to bring your employees along on this journey. Your employees are your best asset. They understand your organization really well. You need them as part of the AI transformation that's going to happen in your business.
I would stress really looking around the organization to your business partners and finding out what is the strategy, what problems are we trying to solve for. Generative AI and all of this new innovation, it's like any bright, shiny object. Anybody can start playing with it, but does it really make the most sense, for your organization? It's really only compelling for you as a retailer if it makes sense into your, and it's solving a problem that you've been looking to solve, right? I always advise my customers to look inward first. What are we trying to do? What are the biggest issues with the company? How are you trying to move forward?
Assess your people, processes, and technologies first. Then I would say move on to game planning and identifying use cases. From there, build a roadmap. Where are we going to adopt AI? At what time scale are we going to do it? Timelines, budgets, key milestones. You do want to have measurable ROI and measurable KPIs, but there should be room in your adoption for pilot programs that don't show an immediate 3-to-1 payback, right? Be willing to experiment and see how it affects your whole business and then perfect it for ROI. And then 2 last things I would say, invest in training. It kind of comes back to the people management thing, but make sure your executives and your managers and your frontline workers understand what you've put in place and how to use it and how they can put it to work for your customer.
The offensive lineman of the retail environment. You only hear about the CISO when something goes wrong. There's been a hack, and yet you have to be correct 100% of the time to protect the enterprise with the operations as well as the data security that is in play. The IT security budget continues to increase. It was as high as 14% of the overall IT budget. That continues to increase as a percentage of that. Even as more and more of the budget moves towards AI overall, cybersecurity is being a big part of those AI tools as the first level of tools that retailers operate with.
But when you deploy that quickly, sometimes there's an opportunity for a gap analysis. And so I think what AI is allowing chief information security officers as well as individual contributors in security operations to do is systematically review gap analysis on infrastructure as it's deployed in real time, and also monitor threats in the form of alerts and incidents that come off of various security technology in different ways. The people that we surround ourselves with in our organizations are going to constantly figure out innovative ways to get things done. And we always got to imagine that they're going to come to their own conclusions unless, as an organization, we're building policies and offering guidance and developing an AI campaign.
AI is really data. At some point, we're talking about just data storage. Now we're talking about data lakes. It's a lot of data involved in driving AI. And so the first thing you want to think about is securing that data, which is one of the principles of responsible AI, making sure that we protect customer data and making sure that the data is secure, making sure you understand who has access to the data, who's using it, and if we have the notice and consent to use the data the way it's being used. The other thing I also think about is the fact that security is really the foundation of AI. If there's no security, then your customers can't trust you and opens up the risk of reputational damage. So especially in retail industry, you want to think about brand loyalty, customer trust, and all of that.
You have a lot of legacy systems in most retail environments, and many of those may not have been patched properly. So having the latest software from your vendors is a key consideration up front. But as well, you may choose different vendors simply because they cannot be secure enough. Next is skill development. One of the biggest challenges is there's not enough people in the industry that know cybersecurity, but certainly cybersecurity in the age of AI. And if you do find them, they're extremely expensive. So how do you get those people? How do you retain those people? Do you need to do that yourselves, or do you need to outsource that operation? If you're a smaller company, it's likely you're going to have to outsource that operations because you're not going to be able to recruit or retain really qualified people in the area of cybersecurity. They just simply get too costly. So going to a third-party operator or a managed security services provider can be a huge help to retailers of all sizes when it comes to protecting the data. The other thing is vendor management. You've got to be concerned about your vendors a lot more in the age of AI. We're just not internet connected. We're internet connected on steroids when it comes to AI because of the number of threats. Every day I get requests for everybody in my organization to change their payroll and to change their banking. In fact, across the Americas, we estimate that AI can bring over $260 billion and improved efficiencies to the operations by being that ultimate force multiplier for your staff, as well as external parties that you bring in as part of your support and security team. Now, we're talking just about the IT security here. We're not talking about the cost of physical security or savings because you avoided a breach, but simply just the savings around better efficiencies at protecting your networks within the operation. Every day we hear about different breaches that are happening across companies of all types. And if that happens to you as a retailer, you're going to spend 10x the number of dollars required to retain a customer as you might have been able to do to prevent the hack in the first place. So that data security, that reputation of the brand through data security is all the more critical in the age of AI.